Top 5 legal requirements that every property investor must know. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. My name's Sabrina. I've been an architectural designer for the past 20 plus years and a property investor going out doing it for myself for the past 3 years. And today we're going to dive into something thrilling, legal requirements. All right guys, stay with me. I know it's not as sexy as how I made 100k in 6 months videos or how I saved 100k in 6-month videos, but this is something that is vital. It's something that every property investor / landlord / small property business owner really needs to know, and it's something that I really wish someone had told me a lot sooner. And these legal requirements are crucial because without them we'd all be building loft conversions out of cardboard and renting out sheds in our back gardens for 2k a month, which, to be honest, the further south you go, I think some might argue that's already happening. But seriously, they are there to help protect both us as the investors and potential tenants if you are wanting to be a landlord. So let's go through them one by one, and the major one to start us all off with is landlord registrations and licensing. So if you're renting out, guys, you really will be on the council's radar. So HMO, you will need a HMO license for that, which is a given, right? Or a landlord's license as well. And guys, it's not just about filling out a form and calling it a day. You'll have things like the Article 4 direction, which is across quite a few places within the UK. We've had that here in Nottingham. We've had it for a good while now. If you didn't know, Article 4 is basically a planning tool used here in the UK by local authorities, and they can use that to basically restrict permitted development rights in a certain area or for specific properties. So basically that has a knock-on effect for us as property investors, because we have to make sure that we check that the property that we're looking at, where it might not need planning permission and maybe could be done under permitted development rights, but if the Article 4 direction is in place, then more extensive planning will be needed. And it basically just gives the local councils a lot more control over certain developments. And Article 4 is also used to control the amount of HMOs in a certain specific area, for example, a conservation area as well. So it's really, really crucial. I say this in all my videos, just make sure when you are looking at certain properties to buy for the potential of maybe turning them into a HMO, just make sure that you check that Article 4 direction isn't in place in that area. If you need a bit more advice on that, you can always contact myself, because we do architectural design, we do planning advice, and we can do the application and things like that for you as well. So my details are in the description box below, so you can contact me if you do need any advice on that, or if you need in general architectural drawings for planning purposes or for builder control applications in general. Another must is you can't rent or sell properties here in the UK without an EPC. I have got videos on this as well, so you can check the channel for more details on this. And there's already this year there's been a bit of back and forth with the rules changing, not changing. They're going to be changing by 2028. Certain rules need to be in place, and you needed to get your property up to a level C, but then we didn't know what the ratings was, so we didn't know whether it would stay the same or whether they were changing the whole rating system. And there was still a big kerfuffle over the EPCs and what this meant for landlords like myself, and yourself included, moving forward. And that leads me on to my next point. Another big thing is to have your gas and electrical safety checks all done and certs in place. For gas, it's annually. For electrical, it's every 5 years. And no, my uncle's a Sparky, learnt on the job, is not going to cut it. Yeah, guys, it doesn't count unless there's NIC, EIC registered. And also, my next point as well, in order to rent out your property, you need to have done all your right to rent checks as well. This is why I'll use an estate agent here in my local area to rent out my properties, because they'll do all those checks for you. Again, if you want more advice on that, I'll drop my estate agent's contact details in the description box below as well. Again, a bonus tip, you need to also have given the tenant a how to rent guide from the government as well. What I do as well to supplement all of that is I also pop in a home user guide. So I've got a template on that. Just if you want to see that template, put in home user guide template in the comments below, and I'll get back to you on that if you're interested in seeing that template. Again, I've got all the videos on renting and renting out and tips and tricks and stuff that I've learned over my experience of renting out my properties, and that videos, and they're on the channel as well if you want to check through those. And also a huge major one as well is making sure that you've done all your fire safety checks as well. So, and that can be during the renovation as well. For example, making sure that you've put the adequate fire line insulation or insulated fire line plasterboard on certain areas, for example in the kitchen, and that is decompartmentalized against everywhere else. That the thinking behind that is basically it just gives time for people to escape in the event of a fire, and making sure that all of that is in place during the renovation. Again, if you want to contact myself for some advice on this when you're doing your renovations, and my contact details, again, they're in the description box below. I've also got a project plan that you can download that can help you to plan out your renovations, cost it out, all stuff like that, and plan the program, all bits and pieces like that. And that is completely for free. That's in an Excel spreadsheet. Again, the link is in the description box below. And guys, especially for HMOs, we're talking smoke detectors, heat detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, you know, escape routes planned out, fire blankets in the kitchen, fire extinguishers, all things like that. And guys, as I said, we're just touching on things briefly in this video, but there's more to it. If you do need any advice, you can always contact myself. But these are all things that we need to be thinking about probably from the get-go, from when we're viewing a property and then costing out the renovation, thoroughly planning out the renovation and the project, and completely with all of this in mind. And also when you're renting out as well, making sure that we've got all of these fire safety checks and everything's all ticked off. And by the way, guys, I am literally documenting my property journey here on YouTube, my renovations, everything like that, all here on YouTube. So if you like the content so far, please like, comment and subscribe. Thanks, guys. So guys, the good, the bad and the bureaucracy. So the good, these rules are all in place to literally raise standards and make sure that we have really nice, decent, safe homes for ourselves, for tenants, for everyone to live in. And they actually create fewer cowboy landlords, which is something that I am trying to campaign against here on this channel. So the fact that you've got to jump through so many hoops and do so much, hopefully it should weed out the people that don't want to do all this and that give the rest of us a bad name. The bad news is the cost to doing all this, it can add up and mount up, and that's especially for us smaller businesses, for us to bear. I mean, the EPC upgrades and the upgrades to the properties that we renovate, it can cost a lot and it can mount up, which is why I say just make sure that you start out on the best way possible, and that is by planning your renovations thoroughly from the start. And guys, by the way, if you are thinking about getting into property investing and you're thinking that your finances aren't quite up to scratch, you can use Unbiased. They are literally like a matchmaking services for your finances. So what they can do is literally matchmake you with the perfect financial advisor that can sit through and go through all your finances, just so you can raise funds in order to start out in property investing. The details to Unbiased are in the link in the description box below, and you get your first consultation for free, and everyone who signs up, obviously I get a small commission on that, so thank you. And guys, also if you are wanting to get some advice on mortgages and things like that, my mortgage advisor's details are also in the description box below, so you can contact her. She'd be happy to hear from you. And another sort of bad point to it, it's whole complexity. There's national laws, there's local planning laws, there's just so many rules and regulations that you have got to sort of you know, just make your way through. Yeah, it can be a bit daunting, and sometimes it even feels like some of the rules contradict each other. But again, if you do want advice, my details are in the description box below. And trust me guys, I've been there. I've literally sat on my desk and just cried. And guys, I know as well as anyone, when you're first starting out, like I am first starting out by myself, some of these rules and the costs and complexity, it can really bog you down, and it can seem really hard, especially if you're wanting to scale like I am. But just keep going through it, and eventually it's going to all fit into place. And all of these legalities literally protect your business and they protect you, and it just helps you to build a brand that people, tenants can trust. And that's literally why I'm sticking to my strategy of turning mixed or commercial use properties into residential, where I control the layout, the fire safety protocols and all the other processes and systems that I've put into place and that I've developed within these 3 years of actually doing this for myself. And if you are a new property investor turned new landlord, then watch this video next on how to legally get your property ready for your next tenant. Thanks guys, bye.